I don't want to take off my glasses. Yo, welcome to Rap Books and Politics. And see, you're right. 2020 did do a number on us. Just wanted to welcome Misael Juarez once again, who is the first author who has been contracted by a Body Blues Press. It is my honor and privilege. And I know I told you this already, but I'm so jelly that you are in Mexico. In fact, I was telling my mom, and she was like, "He went to Mexico." She was. I think she wanted to go. So tell the
Yeah,
viewers where you're
I'm
at.
in Mexico.
Oh, somebody's
I'm in
watching.
I'm in the Sierra. You can see the church. That's a church. The rest is all mountains, all
Oh, it's
mountains.
beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, I get better lighting if I stand right. So so yeah. Oh, do you have questions for me? You do, huh?
I tell them to bring them over, man. Bring them over. Oh, there's three people watching.
Bring the
Hello,
questions
hello,
on over.
friends. I don't know. We'll see what they ask. So, inquiring minds want to know: how did you become part of the town's police force?
Oh, well, the men were having a meeting, and the village actually was having a meeting. But then they all had left, and only there was the main officers from the village, and they summons me, and they asked me, and they just asked me if I wanted to help them out because they needed help. They go like, we need help, and and we need service. We need service from you, and if you could help us out by being a police officer, it was really appreciated. So I was like, sure, I'll do it. Why not? So
Así nomás. Hey, so my mom was asking me, she's like, isn't he an American citizen? And I said, yeah, but I guess I don't care, you know? So,
it's an autonomous indigenous community. So the government and the state have very little to do, very tiny, minimal, very minimal, the tiniest extent. Um, because everything they run the show, the villagers run the show here. Because we're just so
that's,
far away from the city that it just doesn't make any sense to incorporate those outside forces. But
and I'm sure they wouldn't want to anyway
um
because you want people they trust, you know?
yeah, they know me. They know me, and
Yeah.
so they know me, and they know I just stay right here. I'm just like 5 minutes away from the main headquarters. So I start my day by the way. So that's how that happened.
Nice. And you've also joined a band, I hear?
Yeah, they asked me, and later on that night, they asked me, to play the drums. Like we need you. We I want you to be in the band. One of the guys said, one of the officers said, I want you to be in the band. And if you accept, we're gonna get a teacher to teach you how to play an instrument, and we want you on the
What the
drums.
shit?
And I was like, yeah, I'll do it too.
Damn,
I was
bro.
like, sure, why not? Since I'm here, like I'll do it. It gives me something to do,
Are
So
you
I'm gonna
serious?
study music and be a service as a protector, you know. So
Hmm.
pretty cool,
That's amazing.
and it's
That is
free. Hey, what am I gonna say? Free music lessons. I'm not gonna say no to that.
yeah. So what
All
kind of
my
is it like
family is musicians anyway.
what kind of drum is it? Is it a traditional
I
Zapotec
can't hear
drum?
you.
What kind of drum is it?
Oh, you should
Oh,
type the question because I can't
I
hear
am.
you.
I am. We're having a little bit of a Wi-Fi problem.
I
You
can't
can
hear
see
you.
the comments? Can you see the chat comments?
What does it say? It says, what kind of drums is it? Oh, the tambor. The big drum.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let me
Awesome.
type it. Should I type it?
No, no, I can hear you just fine.
All right, let me see here.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You can hear me? All right. I can, as long as you type the questions, I can answer them. Playing the big drums. Yeah, tambora. Yeah.
So
I don't know what happened to the audio, but I guess I'll keep it talking. You got any questions about the poetry book?
yeah, I got a question about the culture. The sound's coming.
The culture right here is very specifically Zapotec, indigenous from the region of Sierra Juarez Norte. We are uh we speak the dialect here. A lot of the food that we eat is local food, and we do everything as a community. When it comes to doing service work, the whole community gets together and we all start participating in the transformation of our surroundings and environments. And then there's the agencia where there's the local the people who've been elected to serve in the council. I guess you could call them elders or something, but they're officers too, and they like to they negotiate the money and all this stuff and projects and all kinds of stuff. Recently, they just built an infrastructure that invites the bands from the Sierra Juarez when there's like jaripeo or gatherings, big feasts, and yeah, that's basically what the culture's like. There's a lot of animals, horses, pigs, chickens, lambs,
Mm.
um, bulls, toros. Occasionally, you walk around the village and you might see a bull. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Well, we're here with
Yeah.
Misael Juarez, who's talking about Sierra Juarez Norte, where he's from, and he's talking about Zapotec culture. And he can't hear me because the Wi-Fi is sketchy in the mountain. So I guess my question is, how many
Should I come
bands are?
back inside? Should I leave and come back so we could get a maybe we could get another dose of the audio?
I don't know, bro. Right?
In this village, there's only one band, but all the villages have their local band. Every
Mm.
village has a band.
So he's gonna go out and come back and see if that'll help. We got so excited because the Wi-Fi was working really well, so we decided to stream earlier. And Wi-Fi, I mean, for an indigenous community to have Wi-Fi is pretty radical, I think. You know, because the communities have been neglected for so long. So I guess they got Wi-Fi last year, and Misa is able to talk on the phone and chat via Facebook, which is awesome because we got to put out my spoken word wife. So let me add into the stream and see if you found a sweet spot. Hopefully you found a sweet spot. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear it. Can you hear me?
Can hear you just fine. I love that backdrop. Yeah, man, I was gonna actually recommend that you
I
walk
can hear
around and see.
you.
Perfect, perfect. So I think that I think I told you I was
Yeah.
in an indigenous community
Uh,
in my mid 20s, and they had baptisms, and it was like a 3 day party. Con la tamorazo, all that. And I drank
right.
pulque, and I never had it before. And pulque is supposed to be a sacred drink. You drink it, when you're telling the truth. And so my uncle's lover me dio un pinche vaso así de grande y no había comido. Man, I tell you what, I didn't even know how the fuck I made it home. I stumbled home. Nobody wanted to help me because women aren't supposed to drink. Me estaba tambaleando. And I told the woman I was going to pray the rosary with her. She gets my ass up at 4 in the morning. I'm dying, dude. Because I'm, and I'm going to tell you what. Never again will I go to a new place and drink without knowing what the hell I'm drinking. Because it was good. But it was way too much. I mean, that was fucked up, you know? But I've never been able to have pulque that good. And they also had a jarritos, which were really good. So it was embarrassing because they all knew I'd been drinking because people talk. So I dragged my ass to the baptism the next day, and everybody was trying to give me pulque, and I was like, no, no más. You know, ya estuvo bueno.
Hey,
And
but
the
you see,
beef,
Jesus, you know, you seem like the type that likes to drink and party. You look
sí, pero
like
un pinche
I could
popote así,
tell.
no, maybe 1 or 2 shots, but damn, bro. You know, it was bad. I had a hangover for like 3 days. I had a fever. It was bad. But the thing, I felt embarrassed because I do like to eat. You know, I'm not skinny. And when they eat consomé de pata de pollo, consomé de res, mole, you name it. And I couldn't eat much because I was hungover. And the people got offended because they were like, don't you like mole? And I was like, God. It's like, yeah, I like mole, pero damn, those platones de comida y pambazos, hijos de madre. When they brought the 8th plate of food, I was like, fuck it, I can't anymore. You know? But I do like to
You know,
drink, just not that much.
it's funny you bring that up because I was when we first did our live on StreamYard, our first one, I had I was hung over because of the New Year's before. I was so hung over. I was like, damn man, we're doing a live.
You can tell. I
And
didn't know you
I
drank it.
saw the video. I saw the video and I said, thank God the wife hooking up because I was like, damn, I look hammered.
Ni se notaba, dude, ni se notaba. You couldn't tell. So, is there a regional drink that the people have there?
Mezcal.
Woo, joder, dude, that shit is tasty when it's fresh.
Yeah, yeah. Right
Yeah,
here, you could tell, like you could tell if it's processed or if it's like original the way it's supposed to be, because the way you could tell is they have little pearls like the when you serve it, there's like little air bubbles, and that's how you know that
mm-hmm.
it hasn't been processed through a refinery or something like that, or has chemicals
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
100%. It's 100%. It's
sure.
not none of that 40% proof or 80%. 100%.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm,
the main
mm.
thing.
That's legit, man. That's the kind. That's what I want to have someday. I'm gonna go on a tequila tour. I want it fresh. You know what I'm saying? Not
Yeah,
this here in the U.S. Because people don't know this, but Mexico has such a variety of beverages, traditional
um,
beverages, different kinds of tequilas. And I don't think they're. I mean, who knows? Maybe with the technology, Americans are never gonna taste pulque because it doesn't last very long. It won't ship. No, but no, that's amazing. So tell me, what else have you been up to?
well, other
Well,
than
besides
that,
joining.
we're just making plans right now. We're making plans about like fixing up, I guess, fixing things around the house and doing
Nice.
some work, you know, some labor as far as fixing the waterway so when it rains it doesn't get all puddled, the water doesn't get concentrated in one area. So I'm gonna be working on the land for a little bit and just enjoying my time right here. It's really
That's amazing.
I'm privileged, you know, I'm privileged to be here.
Yeah,
A lot of people who are from here, they go to the U.S. and they can't come back because of certain legal issues. But
yeah, sure.
I'm fortunate enough to be able to hop the border and I mean not hop, but cross it. You know, like
Yeah, no, cross the
even in
border legally, right?
over a plane. You know, so I'm privileged. You know, in that sense. So when they asked me, it's out of the ordinary that they asked a U.S. citizen to participate. You know, in this, but you know, I don't know. They just saw me and they felt confident that I was gonna say yes. So and they needed the help. So you know, why not? You know, so
Yeah, yeah.
participating.
Well, you can tell you're a good dude. I was telling my mom. I know I was talking to your ears must have been ringing. Le dije, Misael es bien buena gente. You can tell, you know. And what you see is what you get. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I'm glad they're seeing that aspect of us because I think a lot of times people outside of the U.S. think we're materialistic and selfish. And I think the inclination for a lot of us is to be cooperative and communal,
Yeah.
especially in the writing communities we're in. So, look, I'm going to share this with you. Dun, dun, dun. Let me see. I can do this. Share screen. Yeah, yeah. You probably already saw it. And it still needs to fix one little tiny thing. But ta-da! My spoken word wife, Wild Street Romantic and Revolutionary Journey is alive. The pre-order is $5.99. We kept most
Five.
of the cover. It. The thing they haven't fixed that yet. I think these dudes are on holiday. I did fix that. So watch out. Mira, no sé si miraste esto. Ta-da! Tina Lopez.
Yeah. Josefina Lopez. Yes. She wrote a
That was
great
a beautiful.
review.
Oh shit! There's a typo there. Damn it! I hate that. I hate when I find little typos. But it's okay. This will let me know what I gotta fix up. We gotta post it in a
Yeah.
couple weeks. Let's see if it's ranking yet. I haven't checked the sales, but and hopefully it'll be successful. So we gotta post it on the 14th. It'll be available on Monday,
You
and
know,
then hopefully.
it could be like those things that like it's almost like a stone that you throw in a lake and it just goes to the bottom and then one day it just
Totally,
floats
bro.
up.
Totally.
Like
Yeah,
years later it
I
just
was
floats up.
thinking the same thing. Watch out. The press just started in the summer, right? Technically, I launched the press in the summer. We didn't publish our first book until October, which was Nation, which you were in, and then Unity Volume 1. My husband was like, well, let's see the sales and blah, blah, blah. They said, no, bro, the cost of the money to produce a book is not, the royalties aren't going to cover it. It's a labor of love,
Mhm.
man. You know what I'm saying? To get voices like yours out into the universe. And
Yeah.
but he's a business dude. He wants to analyze and all this. I said, all right, you do that part. Because I was thinking about shipping books up, and like, whatever I do, and I don't want to deal with the post office right now with Rona. But at
Right.
some point, I think it'd be badass if we could send signed copies of your book with like a little bit of collateral. Like, I'm going to show you what Storgy did. This is also a charity volume from the Storgy group. And they did this cute little thank you explaining what the money was for. And then they included these bookmarkers. So I was thinking of doing
Okay.
stickers because people are home. They need stickers for the laptop. And then they advertised, the books. So I thought we could do that with other Butter Blues books. But they did this really cool thing where, yeah, all the money's going to charity, but they advertise their books in the back. I'm gonna do that with yours too, and with another book that I'm putting out soon. But just
You're gonna
really
add a
tastefully,
bookmark?
just two bookmarks, and then a little thank you that I think they printed. But I've done
Mm.
bookmarks before, but I wasn't like smart about it. I gotta be honest. I wasn't smart about it because I thought like you say, ripples. I thought, well, if I take them to bookstores, people are gonna buy my book. Shit, no, dude. They just took the bookmarkers. But if you put the bookmarkers with a signed copy, then it's a thank you, and then
Right,
maybe they'll
right.
buy the next book. And it's a nice little touch. I love bookmarkers because I lose my place in books all the time. And so this has actually helped me because I was reading a story and reviewing it, and I wanted to go back, to the story I was looking at. But I think
You know,
collateral is good, and stickers would be good too. You know.
you know, I think it would be nice because a sticker with even the drawing from my friend Halo
Yep.
will make an excellent bookmark or sticker or poster
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something else.
So I was actually interviewing Joshua and Marcella yesterday, and he recommended this company that a lot of times runs deals, Sticker Mule. So I was like,
Right.
fine, let's try it out. Because right now, with the competition for printing, it's easy to get maybe $40 for a bunch of markers, front and back. Just get a good design on there with, the clear, and then use that. But I'm excited. I like the sticker that I saw. In fact, this one, it didn't come with the gifted sticker, but when they wrapped it up in the paper, they had a sticker in the back, and I just grabbed it and put it on my laptop because it was so cool. It's a
Right.
Storgy with a website and then their logo. So it's things like that to think about, man. Someday, who knows? Maybe we'll do T-shirts someday. You know, Body Blues T-shirt,
Great.
spoken word T-shirt.
That's-
Why not, man? You know,
yeah. Why not? Why not? Yeah. Let's do it. So
in serio.
uh, as we're talking about this
I'm thinking about well, I always have a lot of ideas, because it's something that I picked up, as far as marketing. I got my marketing skills as a graffiti writer. I would look at what wall to write on.
Mm,
Every time I was walking around the street, I go like, oh, I'm gonna come back here at night. I'm gonna and put my name up here and then do it right here. And I'll be straight. That's what working class youth are doing. They're doing
yeah,
that, saying like, how can I compete with these corporate logos? And one of the poems in the book of my spoken word wife, I think it's called Graffiti Angels. I'm not quite sure what title it's under, but I talk about that. I talk about the just the competition between a 14-year-old kid having a vision of being famous, and actually the guy who's writing the Steve Teixeira, who's writing a piece in the book. We had a talk about that when I was a teenager, when I met him, and he started telling me about why is it okay for all these corporate guys to put their names on everything all over the place and not for us,
yeah,
And I was like,
true.
and that's when I started writing about graffiti pieces. I started seeing the value in that because it was just something that I kept to myself. It was something that I didn't talk about simply
Right.
because you just don't do that in that culture. But
Yeah,
since I'm not actively involved in doing that right now, but I'm more actively involved in spreading a message and awareness about this attitude of graffiti. And so I'm very proud of this book simply because it has a lot of my blood, sweat, and tears. I almost died in the street for
yeah.
doing this stuff. So I carry it with a passion and a lot of dignity and honor.
That's
So
awesome, dude.
and
Yo,
I thank you, Jesus.
passion, dignity, and honor, bro. Maybe those are the three words that could be in the back of the cover. What do you think about
Yeah,
that?
I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, why not?
bro, let me write that down before I forget. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that because I'm also a fan of graffiti, and it pisses me off that it gets criminalized. But I hadn't thought
Yeah,
of, yeah, fucking corporations. Not only do they put their name everywhere, sometimes I think it's inappropriate, right? That in todas partes, you know what? Corporations would advertise all over the fucking planet if they could, including the moon.
hmm
And that's what's disgusting to me. I hate seeing athletes having to pimp themselves, and I know they have to make their bread. Nike, Adidas, on their bots, everywhere. I'm like, China, wait, we didn't come to see all those corporate names. We came to see the athletes perform or whatever. And todas pinches partes, on the subway, on the fucking taxi, people fucking advertising themselves. Human advertisements. I'm like, oh, that's a whole
yeah,
different kind of slavery right there. It's like, oh no,
exactly.
it's
And so
systematic.
which leads me to this idea that graffiti is actually a fight for liberation. It's it's almost like a it's almost like an alchemy to a young kid, to a teenager who learn. Like, for example, I use myself as an example. I realized at a young age that I'm only supposed to represent myself, my barrio, my name,
Yep.
and therefore I chose not to wear Nike, Fubu, all that shit. I consciously made that decision, not because I was class conscious or I was a revolutionary. No, I was just like, nah, I'm only advertising me, like my name on the street.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And here I am advertising, but nobody has a face to that nickname that I used to write.
Yeah.
Or because we were just low pro, put our hoodies on, and that was
Yep.
that. And so all through college, and people would say like, hey, I noticed you don't like to sport these symbols, these logos. I go like, nah, especially when the logo is right on the side pocket, right next to your heart. I'm like, hell no, I don't want to put that shit next to my heart because
Yep.
that's I'm very conscious. I was very conscious of the names of things, of letters at a young age simply because of this graffiti culture. Like,
Yeah.
I was conscious of the letters, the numbers, what they mean, how to spell things with numbers, and so I was so passionate about not sporting it. And then when I learned about revolution, it was revolutionary consciousness. It was just another support system to base
Right.
my beliefs that I already had developed
Yeah.
as a teenager. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. You know, and I think even though we may not understand it wholly, I think we all come into revolutionary consciousness at different phases of our lives. You know, for me, it was encountering extreme poverty in Mexico. That at a gut level, I knew something was fundamentally fucked up with that, and I
right,
saw it. Parents didn't because they were so entrenched in the system, and I couldn't buy into it. You know, and it seemed so unfair that people were living in cardboard boxes across the fence, and people on the other side had electricity, brick houses. Um, Made no sense. As a kid, I was little, chavalita, when my parents would take me to Mexico to go to the doctor. But that, I believe, was a fundamental seed to my revolutionary thinking today. It wasn't so much the poverty we experienced as seeing extreme poverty in Mexico and how people were treated. You know, and
yeah,
my mom, of course, my mom was the one that taught me to be generous, and she really inculcated the idea of Catholicism, a Catholicism that was giving and present to the poor. You see what I'm saying? That was the living
mm,
faith. That's what she
right,
taught me. Right action. You know, and I gotta give it to her. I thank her, and she doesn't understand what a huge impact she had on me at the
right.
time. And mojados, which they were human beings crossing the border in 120-degree weather. And my mom would always feed them and give them water. Always. And that action of compassion and generosity had a huge impact on me. That's why we're how we are too. When people are hungry, we feed them. If somebody needs a place to stay, they stay at our house. You know, cuidamos a los niños que no tienen a sus papás porque están trabajando. You name it.
Mm,
And to
right,
me, it's what we're supposed to do for each other. Tu sabes? So I think
yeah.
that I think was. I thank her all the time, dude. I thank her all the time. My dad was the opposite. Todo era bien tacaño. My dad would see a little chavalito begging on the streets, and he'd be like, "Trabaje," and I'm like, "What the fuck, dude? Little 4 years old. What the fuck you mean trabaje?" Me da un pinche coraje. We get into it, you know.
But that's father energy because that's kind of like challenging these kids to surpass that poverty, to surpass it, to be self-sustainable. And I'm not saying it's okay all the time, but like sometimes, like teach a person how to fish and you feed them for a lifetime kind of attitude is cool. But when they're really young,
Cuando tienen
you
4 años,
have
dude,
compassion.
chale. No, hombre.
When they're like 5 years old, like, come on, you're not gonna tell them that, like,
No,
yeah,
dude.
when they're like 14, 15, like, all right,
Okay, okay, I agree. A mi niño ahorita tiene 11 años. Ok, ya, que se ponga a trabajar, dude. Ya estuvo de tanta
mm,
pinche computadora esto. Que se ponga a lavar los platos, a barrer, Same for both of them, you know?
yeah,
But I think that, yeah, there's a lot of dehumanization that still happens. And I mean, I don't know if you can speak to this. I hope my relatives aren't watching, but I have relatives that are upper middle class, and
right.
they're very classist. They don't like radical thinking, and they hate indigenous people. And
And
they they get offended when I ask them what part of the indigenous roots we are. We're Spanish. I'm like, no manchen. The fucking conquest was in 1492. What the fuck you mean we're Spanish? That's you know what I'm saying? And I know for a fact that we have indigenous blood because I have the pictures of my abuelita. You know? No, no, somos puros españoles y blah 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 blah. But what have you experienced that as you traveled, to your village like that prejudice against indigenous people?
something, it's been very, very minimal. I've experienced
Wow,
that.
that's awesome.
Simply, simply because, I don't know, because yo siempre ha tenido la cara, the type of face that you don't say shit like that to me, kind of thing. That kind of attitude, that kind of vibe, and I can't remember a time when someone has told me that, try to downplay my my indigenous side because I always carried it so well. I always carried it like with pride and honor. And the way I talk, 'cause I'm a poet, you know, and I was a poet before I knew I was a poet. So I
Truth.
would say I would talk about my roots, my family in such a way that the other people will feel like, damn, do I have indigenous in me? Like, am I like what a like how? And they will just admire that, how you connected your family. Because I will invite my friends over to my family gatherings, and they'll see how big my family was and how we party, and we had the banda, and then we had our dances and our traditions and our food and our comida. We had soul, So
Hmm.
I didn't experience that. Maybe like other in when I was working in construction, like other Mexican dudes who just felt like belittling people from Oaxaca by calling them Oaxaquitas. I don't know if you ever heard that
Oaxaca.
term, but
Como Oaxaca.
so they will try to come play that they'll try to play that card with me, but as a little kid, you know, I learned from my uncle, when he was being called that, he grabbed an apple. He was on the bus and and he threw the apple directly into the guy's face, and he told me that story. He says you don't tolerate that shit either, But I choose to battle with my language. I choose to battle with my language. Yeah, yeah. For me, call Oaxaquita. It's annoying. And because when you could tell when someone's doing it like, oh, it's just albur, it's just cotorreo, it's just a way of just clowning, humoring, getting along. That's one thing. But when you're saying it in with such an intensity to dehumanize, to belittle a people, and say you're more superior because you feel, like when you're saying it like that, that's when you get an apple in your face,
Yeah,
like
true,
that's,
true.
like,
Hmm.
because in Oaxaca, like the people are really good at throwing rocks simply because it's a way of life. Um, when they see a let's say a snake on the ground, they get really good at it, So like put them in a different situation as a migrant to the U.S. and the bus are full of diverse culture, and you get somebody trying to press the buttons. Well, that's the kind of attitude that my uncle expressed to me as a young man.
That's nice. Yeah, I remember one time. Well, this is a secondhand story because I used to go to the Yaqui community in Arizona
Yeah,
because there was a
I
time
like
where I
that
thought,
question though.
thanks,
I don't know. I'm not sure if I answered it, but
you answered it beautifully.
we're in a distance.
No, you answered it perfect. So I was in I used to I was thinking about becoming a nun when I was
But
younger,
as
believe.
far as
And
to answer that other question that I feel like it was insinuated, um, about your family roots and not knowing, or feeling disconnected from an indigenous past.
mm,
I would really look into that, like, I'm not saying go register your blood type in a registry where, they say you're from all over the world, but like, I would just really look at the whose grandmother, where's the grandmother, what place, what location,
yeah,
and
that's
find
exactly
and find the indigenous people of that location,
So my uncle. By the way, we're joined by Joshua Marcella. Holla, Joshua. Welcome, welcome. We're here with author Misael Juarez, who is adventuring in Mexico and is now part of the local police force and joined a band, which is so fun. But what I found is that my uncle, he's a retired engineer, but he's working with the local indigenous community in the city of Durango.
You wanted to be a nun?
Oh yeah, you're way lagging, bro. Yeah, yeah, I did. I did. I'll tell you that
Oh,
story later.
pardon me, pardon me.
I move on. So my uncle was working to raise maguey plants so they could enter the global economy, and the native group that he was working
Can
with
you
were
hear
the
me?
Wishoy. Yeah, I can hear you. We're just lagging. Um. So
Joshua Marcella says hello. Hello.
there's a yeah. So I found that maybe my grandmother was Wishoy, but the problem is because nobody wants to admit that we have those indigenous roots. They don't know. So when I went to Mexico in my 20s, I did try to find out. I asked questions, but my relatives looked at me like I was fucking crazy, dude. And it was like complete denial that we had any indigenous in us. It was only my uncle who was a touch condescending even to the indigenous people there. Even though he was working with them and trying to improve the economy, that I didn't get at the bottom of anything, but I did see that there were a number of groups around. You could tell by the way they dressed, you know. So someday I'd like to know more about it, but at least the region where they're from. But yeah, I mean, it was to me it's fascinating, and maybe it's because when I was there, I was it was like 20 years ago when I was there, but the racism was visceral, And I remember one time we were at the rancho that my uncle owns, and there was a native family that took care of the rancho, and the kids were watching us eat, and so I took them a plate, and my aunt was like, "Oh, they don't want to eat that," and I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude? They're obviously enjoying the food." But that kind of condescending attitude that I was like, and I don't mean that I'm my auntie, just that hateful attitude that I don't even realize she had. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, dude, these are not your slaves or peons, man. They're taking care of your ranch when you're not here. They're doing you a fucking favor, and you treat them like that. So I don't know, but I love your attitude though. I love that, to carry that with dignity, right, and be proud of it, and not prideful but proud. I think that's amazing, bro. It really is. Anyway, go ahead, go ahead. I've talked too much. Go ahead. Well, he's probably gonna come back in. So Joshua was here. We had a few viewers. He'll be coming back. He'll leave us with some parting words. Sorry, I'm yelling. It's like I don't think it's gonna help with him actually hearing what I gotta say. It's like when you remember when you were on the old school rotary phones and you would call your relative in Mexico, "Concha, cómo estás?" And I would tell my parents, I'm like, "Yo, they can hear you just fine. You don't have to yell into the fucking phone." Oh, I didn't say fucking, but you don't gotta yell into the phone. That's funny though. So maybe he'll come back in. I should chat him up on Facebook. Why is this thing chirping at me? I got my phone on the side. It's chirpy. Maybe he's come in already. No, not yet. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. I'm getting hungry too. I'm craving tripas. Ah, there you are.
Oh,
Hey, hey, hey.
hello.
All right.
Hey,
It,
so
it seems to work every time I log out and come back in.
yeah, bro. So we're like at 40 minutes. You want to close out and leave the viewers with something to think about?
Oh well, I was gonna say something about your story, because I feel it's very important. And when I got a chance to work with Dr. Maladoma, he mentioned that sometimes when these attitudes, these gestures that almost seem like could almost come close to being categorized as pathology, like an attitude towards indigenous people, it usually has to do with an ancestral wound that is being experienced in the other world. And so I'm not sure if you're atheist or how spiritual you are, but like he's a guy with two doctorates, three masters, and he said that the most he learned was from his indigenous elders in Africa. And so he explaining to me that something about smoking, why I smoke so much, you go like, you smoke a lot, because he just nailed it. He goes like, in your indigenous culture, your traditions and your family, there's a lot of smoke. And and he was giving me a different attitude about it, but I chose tobacco as a way to feed that craving. So I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but a lot of sometimes when we're like, when people are like, some people in Texas, could still be racist. There could be white and it's simply their lineage is attached to that slavery era, and the way it comes out is basically is the ancestor asking for healing to heal that. And some people become, I have a poem that's called why don't white people become beige? Because there's some people that don't even act white, but they're not brown, they're not black, they're not yellow, they're beige, because they're actually gain some color with their consciousness, as far as trying to clean up the mess of
Mm.
the white establishment. But anyways, we could close it off with a closing remarks. I'm not sure how, if you want to lead us into the closing stuff. Maybe we could talk about whatever,
No, man.
me
I
being your
think that's a
guest and
beautiful.
all.
I think that's a beautiful sentiment to close on the idea that one, healing is possible, right? And it is possible to overcome these systems. The racism, capitalism, all these things. But I like that notion of healing. I think that's beautiful. You know. So thank you so much for being on Radical Books and Politics again. I hope we do this again soon. We got to figure out what that Wi-Fi sweet spot is. And just to pitch one more time that my spoken word wife is available for pre-order for $5.99, which is the equivalent of a cup of coffee at Starbucks, a cheap one. So I mean, where else are you gonna get 101 amazing poems? And you saw the depth that Misael puts into his work. So have a good time, have fun with your band. Yo, take a video. I want to see you play, bro. That'd be awesome.
All right.
Órale. Okay, thank you, my brother. Thank you. Let's see if we can get those parting words. Peace. Southside. Love you, hermano. Talk to you real soon. Take care. Do it love to the max. Have a great day.